I look out the window, there's going to be snow on the ground, but nothing here in central New Jersey and Somerville.
Yeah, I said that
The
yesterday.
air felt like that yesterday.
Felt,
Yeah.
yesterday.
We got a little freezing rain yesterday here.
So,
I think we were supposed to get snow up in North Jersey.
Hey,
You
right
watched
where
the
I'm
Ohio
headed.
State game. You watched the Ohio State game this weekend. It snowed in Ohio.
oh, really? Okay. All right. So let's officially get started. Sean, when you're ready, I see we're streaming. Are we recording? I didn't hear the lady. There we go. All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Central New Jersey Huddle of Relaxed Teams. It's November 16th. We're live streaming. We are recording. So if everybody's okay with that, you have to do absolutely nothing. If you are not okay with that, well, this is the time when you can just hit the red little leave button in the corner of your screen. All right. So what's in store for today? Well, the same thing as every week. Keep it nice and consistent. The playbook or agenda says we're going to start out with some shout outs, some testimonials. If anybody has anybody that they'd like to highlight or give thanks to, we'll start our meeting with that. Then we'll go around the room with all, oh, sorry. See, I was so excited because you already announced that Lance was our featured speaker. Then Lance is going to speak after the testimonials, give us 10 minutes of real estate news and who he's looking for and how we can get him some business. And then we're going to go around the room, 45 seconds apiece for everybody who's here. We'll start off with the regulars and then any new members or guests that are showing up in here. You're welcome to tell us a little bit about yourself and your business and how we can get you business. Okay. So that'll be 45 seconds as well. And then finally, we'll conclude with some team business, some net weaving. It's not networking. We're kind of weaving our businesses together to help each other out. So any questions about that? All right. So then without further ado, any testimonials or feedback that somebody would like to give to another member that's here or might not be here? If not, I will start off. I am going to give a shout out to somebody who was not expecting it. But actually, I was thinking about you earlier this week. I was in another networking meeting and I thought, for some reason, came to my mind, Mr. Quick. Whenever you give your 45 seconds, even though you're upbeat and personable, you really notch it up and you get excited about it. And I thought of you right as I was about to kind of give a short section about myself. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to do like David does. And I really pumped up the energy and I felt different and the room felt it different. So thank you for being here and thank you for making me better without you even knowing it. So I think that's the perfect way to do things. It's just leading by example without any expectations like that. So thank you very much. Anybody else? As a hush falls across the room. All right, well, not a problem. We will just continue on. As we mentioned, this week's presentation is going to be presented by Lance. Lance, you need to share the screen.
Yeah, I'm going to share. Have something that I can put up there.
Okay. I think you should be able to now.
I always forget where this button is to share.
The bottom of the toolbar, the green button.
Oh, there it is.
If you can see your toolbar.
Yeah. Everybody see that?
It's coming up. There we go. The one thing. One thing.
Slideshow. Cool. All right, everybody. So as you know, I'm a residential real estate agent. I also help people with light commercial properties. And my talk today is not necessarily going to be about real estate specifically. It's going to be more general about business and even more specifically about productivity within your businesses. And in case anybody was wanting to hear stuff about real estate, I'll just give a quick overview of what's going on right now. It's still a great market for buyers and sellers. Interest rates are up. Prices are in New Jersey, prices are pretty level or even still increasing in certain pockets. It's not crashing like you're hearing in a lot of other areas. So that's the snapshot. If anybody has any particular questions about real estate, feel free to reach out to me. So the talk is going to be about, it's really centered about a book called The One Thing, which is written by Gary Keller and Jay Papasanjic. Gary Keller of Keller Williams, he's the founder of the company. And it's a productivity book. I would recommend this book to anybody that's watching this. It's not a real estate book at all. He doesn't even talk about real estate. It's about focusing on what matters. It helps you just figure out what things you need to do, what things you need to concentrate your efforts on so that you can grow your business. One of the concepts he talks about, the book boils down to really one central question. What's the one thing that I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? Once you know that, you focus your efforts there, where they'll have the highest and best impact, and then it helps you avoid throwing good resources after bad. And well, when you're focusing on the things that matter, it helps you keep your sanity because you're not focusing on the things that don't matter. One of the concepts in the book, if you've ever heard of this thing I thought was fantastic. It's the 80-20 rule, also known as the Pareto principle. If any of you want to hear about it, definitely just Google either one of those phrases. You'll find all kinds of stuff that has to do with it. But really what it boils down to is that 80% of outputs are the result of 20% of inputs. And it's quite universal. Here's a few examples. I highlighted some of the ones that were most poignant to me. 80% of retail sales are produced by 20% of store brands. So knowing that, if I was in a retail store, I would want to focus what the 80% of my retail sales are and focus on those sales to generate higher sales. 80% of sales come from 20% of clients. So find out who the 20% of those clients are and service them with the most amount of attention. I like this one. 80% of complaints are filed by 20% of customers. When I used to work in the corporate world, there were always clients who just were complete time wasters. And I always wish that the company would just fire those clients. And now as an independent contractor, I have the ability to do that. And it absolutely saves me so much time that I don't need to be spending. 20% of people in your life consume 80% of your time. That could be good or bad, depending on who those people are. 20% of your habits create 80% of your productivity. That's an important one. Figure out what those habits are, focus on them, and boost your productivity. 20% of the hours in your workday yield 80% of your productivity. So it's very universal. I don't know how accurate these are, but I've also heard claims that it happens in nature too. Like 80% of the mass of the stars are consumed by 20% of the stars. In sports, I heard that 80% of scoring is done by 20% of the players. So it's very universal. What it does is it helps you identify what works. It helps you get rid of what doesn't work. It helps you buy back your time, buy back your resources. I like this one. It helps you reallocate your costs. So this is another way you can apply it. For example, if 80% of your revenue comes from new business, figure out what it is that you're doing to generate that new business and focus there. For me, my new business is repeat and referral business. So one of the things that I like to do is if I know 8% of my revenue comes from repeat business via 20% of my client base, then I like to figure out the ways that I can generate new business from the other 80% of my past clients. Because the people you've worked with in the past are the ones that they like you, they know you, they trust you, and they're the most ready to work with you again in the future. All right. So that brings us again to what's the focusing question is, what's the one thing that I can do such that by doing it, that everything else will be easier or unnecessary? All right. So how do you do it? Buy back your time. So in the book, in my business, one of the ways that real estate agents have to generate their business is by prospecting, cold calling, talking to clients, networking, things like that. The problem with that is that it's so easy to be distracted. For example, especially like if you're working at home, if I'm working and I know that I need to make, 10 contacts in the next 2 hours. I have to build a bunker. If my wife is home that day, I have to tell her, listen, I'm working. I cannot be interrupted during this time. If I have cats, I need to make sure that my cats are not going to be coming over. I need to make sure that I have my drinks, whatever it is, take my bathroom break and then get to work. All right. So build a bunker is the stronger you can build your bunker, the more you're going to be able to focus on what it is that you're trying to accomplish. Realize that multitasking is a myth. Studies have shown that when you are trying to multitask, what you're really doing is task switching. And anytime you switch tasks, especially on high focus tasks, you really lose a lot of traction. If they've showed that for tasks that require a lot of focus, if you get distracted, it can take you up to 30 minutes to get back into the groove of where you were before the distraction actually occurred. So multitasking is actually a myth. It's not real. It's just task switching. Another one is the myth is that willpower is on will call. Sometimes people wait for inspiration or whatever it is that it's gonna motivate them to get to work. That doesn't always work. I mean, other studies have shown that you have the most amount of willpower in the morning and it wanes during the day so figure out when you are the most productive. Focus all of your highly productive tasks in that time. Like for me, I'm a morning person. So all of my revenue generating activities happen in the morning rather than at night, and especially not after lunch, because I am so unproductive after lunch. Some of the pitfalls. All right. So the paradox of choice. One of the things there's a book called Paradox of Choice, but I've never actually read it, but I know what the concept is. It basically states that the more choices that we have, the more diminished our satisfaction is with our choice. And I always like to think of the example of in the movie My Cousin Vinny. He's sitting in at the diner in the South. It's when he's having grits for the first time. He looks at the menu and the menu says breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Those are his choices. All right. For me, when I sit down at a diner, I usually get three things when I'm at a diner. I get scrambled or an omelet, a Reuben sandwich, or a burger. Because anytime I veer from those, I'm always like, I should have got the burger. And I'm not happy with my choice. But if there was only those three choices, I would have been just fine with it, right? Also, companies have learned this too. So sometimes you'll notice when companies have a product, they'll have three tiers of the product. They have the basic entry-level product, the mid-level product, and the high-end product. If you have 15 different choices, it's really hard to make one. This is a concept that Steve Jobs had put into play when he had come back to Apple the second time around. They had, I forget the exact number, they had like 100 and something, 150 or whatever it is products. First thing he did was get rid of all those products and narrowed it down to like 10 or something like that. He like completely chopped off all the products because he knew that if they focus on just a small amount of products that were getting them the most amount of revenue and reducing the paradox of choice amongst their customers, we all know what happened to Apple since then. So if you embrace the paradox of choice, you can let go of what doesn't matter. All right. So the 80-20 rule, paradox of choice, let the things that don't work fall by the wayside. Also, the sunk cost fallacy. It really is why you should abandon things that aren't working immediately. Projects, clients, tasks, things like that. If sometimes we have the tendency to say, well, I've been working on it for so long, I'm almost to the finish line. If I just get there, it'll make sense. But really what happens is if you continue down that path, you use up the time and resources that could be used elsewhere for something that's going to be way more productive. So sunk cost fallacy is something that I actually pay very much attention to. And an example is in my personal life. If I'm in like a book or a movie or something like that, and if I don't like it, I'm out. Like if I'm 2 chapters into a book and it's bad, I will not stick around. If I'm 15 minutes into a movie and it stinks, I'm out. There's no reason for me to continue because I know that I'm not enjoying it. Another thing that I had found recently was when it comes to reading, this is something that is kind of a sidebar. I read multiple books at the same time. I've been doing that for quite a long time, and I find that the way that I do that, because if I'm reading usually 3 books, I'm reading a productivity book of some sort, or personal growth development. I'm also reading a fiction book, and then some sort of like spiritual, a lot of like philosophy type stuff. And the reason why that has actually boosted the amount of reading is because I read for different purposes. Just like when you're watching TV, you watch TV for different purposes. You might want to watch an action movie. You might want to watch a drama. You might want to watch a comedy. The same thing is with books. So when I realized that I could read multiple books, if I wasn't in the mood to read my fiction book, I had my business book that I could focus on. Whereas if I was only reading one book, if I didn't feel like reading that book at the moment, I didn't do any reading at all. So I love that example. So if you're a reader, don't be afraid to read more than one book at once. So getting near the end, so I do have some time for Q&A, I think. In the book, these are some of my favorite quotes that I think about quite often. If you argue for your limitations, you get to keep them. So if you're looking at your 80-20, your Pareto principle, and you're like, well, I can't really get rid of that because blah, blah, blah. You're arguing for your limitations, so you get to keep the limitation that's holding you back. This one is huge. So if I find myself arguing with, getting in my own way, arguing for a limitation, I'm like, listen, I'm arguing with myself again. I need to stop doing that. I don't want to get rid of this task, but I need to. And if it's something that actually needs to happen, focus your efforts where you're going to be able to get the most amount of impact, and sometimes outsource things. Like, for example, for me, I hate doing accounting. I hate doing website stuff. I hate doing, the menial tasks. Those are all things that you can still make sure that get done, but outsource. I mean, there's people in this group who can help with IT stuff and accounting, things like that. So if it's a limitation that's holding you back, outsource it or get rid of it completely. And then just to piggyback on that, you can have reasons or results, but you can't have both. So you can have the reason why you haven't gotten to your revenue goal for that year, or the result by getting rid of those reasons, but you can't have both. I love that quote. It's one of the ones that I remember quite often. And that actually brings me to the end. Anybody have questions or comments on some of this stuff?
Very good. I'm definitely going to get the book, Lance.
Yeah.
I know it's on Amazon. The paperback's 15. The Kindle's only $2.99.
$3. Yep, can't go wrong. Yeah, and for anybody to see, I put the link straight to it in the chat there. It is a great book. I've read it before, and it like Lance said, it really kind of keeps you focused on the one thing.
Yeah, and in the book, as one of the examples he gave, when Gary Keller was growing Keller Williams, the real estate company, he had all his managers together, and he had them try and focus on a few tasks. And this is how he got to the one thing, actually. He had them focus on, he's like, what are the 5 things that you need to do this week that'll help grow the business? And then they'd go out and they do their thing, and then they come back the next week and they didn't accomplish any of them. So he's like, all right, I'm going to chop that down to 3. What are the 3 things that you need to do this week that'll help grow the business? And they go off, and then the next meeting in a week or 2, they come back and they didn't accomplish any of those things. And then he said, listen, guys, just pick one thing and do that. And then as soon as he got them down to one thing, they came back and they accomplished that one thing. So that's how he actually got to that. The book is really easy to read too. It's not a hard read at all.
I know I'm victim of so many of the things that you pointed out, like multitasking is a myth. You're absolutely right. That's my biggest problem. I am so easily distracted.
Yep.
Let me check my email before I start this project, or let me do this,
I mean, some of the hardest things to do is, put your phone on silent, put it face down, put it in the other room. I've actually uninstalled social media apps from my phone. I don't have any social media on my phone at all. And that helps. That helps. I mean, the amount of time that you waste browsing the different socials is ridiculous.
One of my downfalls when I'm working, and I try to stick to, okay, one thing that I'm going to do is I'm working on this task. Well, when it comes to websites and IT, sometimes, for example, when I'm making a backup of a website, it could take a whopping 2 or 3 minutes. And I'm like, I'm not going to wait here. Let me go do something else. So I could do something else. And I forget that I was working on that backup. And then I get deep involved in something. And so I'm the kind of guy who has 20 tabs plus open. And I go back and go, oh, yeah, that's what I was working on. So that whole idea of getting back into things, absolutely.
Yep. Does
I
anybody have like,
Patience.
I think for the most part, that's the way the entrepreneur mind works, right? We're like doing a million things at one time because we're not just sales, we're not just marketing, we're not just operations, we're not just HR. We have to do all of those things. And it doesn't come, challenges within each of those sectors don't come up when we want them to. They come up when we're doing other things.
Yep,
So then,
that's true.
right, it takes away our time. So I think it's probably common amongst all of us that, George, we get easily distracted. I do too.
So Desiree, I have to ask because Lance said so. Are you, now let me see if I have my reading or my reading comprehension, my listening comprehension is, are you arguing for your limitations? Is that what you're just saying? That second to last slide?
Yeah, exactly. No comment.
Leave it to Paul.
Guilty as charged as well, so.
Yeah.
the Gary Keller take on that would be figure out what it is. Like if you look at your profit and loss and you are able to identify the one thing, like for me, it's prospecting for new business. That's the one thing that I need. Marketing is not a revenue generating task. And it's one that I can easily outsource to somebody else. So if I'm spending an hour every day on marketing efforts, and I don't need to do it, if somebody else can do it for me, that's the thing that I need to outsource. So you can still do it, but buy back that hour by sending that task to somebody else and use the extra hour for more prospecting, lead generating.
And Lance, on top of that, most of the time when you don't have time to do something or you're thinking about investing in outsourcing anything, even other than marketing, usually you find people who do it better than you would anyway. So then it's a win-win, right? You're freeing up your time to do the things you love and that you're better at, and you're getting that task done and checked off your list. So it's really a win-win. I think a lot of people get scared of outsourcing, but man, it certainly works for me.
Yep.
I think that could be a great group discussion topic one day, is talking about outsourcing too, because as you mentioned, Desiree, it can be really easy to do once your mindset lets go of it, but it's not the type of thing where it's a just set it and forget it. Okay, I told somebody to do this, right? And kind of wipe your hands and assume and everything's going to get done. There is some follow-up and, make quality and that kind of stuff, depending on the person. So yeah, that's a great, I'm making a note of that. Thank you.
And it's important to find good, reliable people. Again, another example in the book that Gary had mentioned is when he was trying to grow company, he had a third party, somebody come in and analyze the company, and they said, here's what you need to do. Your problem's not with this, it's not with that, where you think that it is. Your problem is there's 15 people in your management that need to be gone. And Gary said, oh, I need to replace 15 people. And so what he made his one thing was he actually stepped down as CEO. He hired somebody else to do the CEO role, and he made his job for the next year or whatever it was. All as he did was find those 15 people. That was his one thing. He turned everything else off and delegated or outsourced and replaced the 15. And then what you see now is the largest real estate company in the world, as a result of him making that change to find 15 better people.
There's also another great book by Jim Collins, Good to Great. Anybody read that? So taking, Lance, what you just mentioned about Gary Keller and finding those 15 people and going back to the Pareto principle of 2080 and thinking about 20% of your customers are the big complainers, right? One of the things that he talks about is firing. If every year you fire your worst 20%, you're making room and capacity to bring in new people that'll be better. And you just keep getting a better level or better clientele every year when you focus on that as well. So.
Not to mention the boost in morale for the people who work for you, who no longer have to deal with those problems.
Mm-hmm.
So I think with my problem, now that there's 5 people at Clarent, when you have an employee who is, I don't want to use the word slacking, but let's call it not showing up in quotes. How long do you wait? Everybody has personal shit that happens in their lives. And it's like, yeah, I get that. And it's temporary. And then you wait until they get back on track, or you hope they do. But how long do you wait until you cut the ties?
Well, I'm not, HR personnel related stuff is not my forte.
Me neither.
But I think if you were to read some of the experts there, I think the answer would be immediately, and for good reasons on both sides. I mean, sometimes if somebody is just spinning their wheels, they're just kind of going along with the status quo, because it's difficult to, for them, it's difficult. They don't want to go through the rigmarole of trying to find a new job. So they're just buying their time or wasting their own time. I got let go in 2008 from a company I was working for. And at the time it was devastating, but it turned out to be the best thing for me, because it was the time when I went full time in real estate. And I don't think I ever would have left that company. I just would have continued staying there with the status quo, collecting a paycheck. But it forced me to do the thing that I wanted to do anyway, was just scared to. So while it's hard to do that to people, sometimes it's the best for them as well.
Can I say something?
Yep.
Because I do payroll as well for companies, what I've noticed that certain people always have problems with something. It's just not that one time. So you wait, it happens once, something always happens. I mean, we all have personal lives, but you'll find the pattern very often that one particular person always has an emergency. There's always something going on in their lives. And that's when you know.
That's true.
Yeah. And, it's those people that always have bad luck. It's always people that, something happens to them. There's always, and stuff like that just follows them around. And I think, not to point fingers, but, it's their own fault. Right? Everybody's in the same circumstances. 2 people in the same circumstances, one can thrive and one can fail miserably. So, Desiree, you talked about mindset in the past, and I think that has a big part of it too. So.
Yeah, definitely. Yep, it's a big challenge though. I think, like you said in the chat, Paul, like hire slow and fire fast. It makes sense. But for me, it's more of like, I build relationships with these employees, and when for 9 months they've been amazing, and then all of a sudden they just stop showing up, it's like, what just happened? And it's like, is this something they're going to come out of? Is it? So, there's the fire fast thing is true probably 80% of the time, right? And then there's 20% where it's they're extremes that you can handle, but we'll see.
There's one thing I'll say, because there's a lot of nuance there that would warrant a completely different in-depth discussion, because we don't know all the things that you've worked through with this employee, the one-on-one stuff you've gone through. But I would say a lot of times, for me, sometimes there's times in my business where I have to have a heart-to-heart with clients and tell them specific things. If there's something I need them to do that they don't want to do, and they're not just not behaving, and I know it's going to be difficult discussion. The thing that tells me that I need to have the discussion is the fact that I don't want to have it in the first place. Mm-hmm. And if I feel that, then I say, this is a discussion I need to have right now, because if I don't, it's only going to get worse. So if it's one of those things where it's a discussion that you don't want to have with that employee, maybe have that. Maybe you can save it. Maybe you can keep them there, get things turned around, and not have to worry about going to find somebody else. I would just say make sure that if there's a heart-to-heart that you need to have with them, have that.
Yeah,
That's a great
but
point.
I think I agree, but I think the breed of employees these days that are, in the pool, let's say, are very different than what we are all like, where, I grew up working at, 14 years old, even earlier than that, but officially 14 years old. And I never didn't have a job even through high school. And now there's this sense of entitlement that I think a lot of these employees have. So even when you have these heart-to-hearts, it's like you're kissing their ass instead of them kissing yours. Not that anyone needs to kiss anybody's asses here, but I think you think you're dealing with yourself in those conversations, but we're not anymore. Where our generation is gone. Not gone, just, you're not dealing with them as employees anymore as much as it used to be. So I think that's a big challenge too. So when these heart-to-hearts come up, they don't see your view. It's like, well, wait, you should be there for me, and you should be lenient, and you should be flexible. And it's like, wow, man, I did not grow up that way.
You're hitting on,
And that is another that's a great conversation for another time. We can add that one to the list as well. And I'm going to kind of put the end of this conversation now, just for time's sake. And I know, Lance, you're dying to say something, so you have 10 seconds. Go.
No, you hit on something that I saw Simon Sinek just talked about in a video, and it was exactly the thing you're talking about. I'm going to email you the video.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Thanks, Lance.
All right. Well,
Great
thank you
topic,
for
Lance.
a
Thank you.
great topic. Yes. And again, the link is in there. Good to Great link is in there. Check those both. They're both out. And always constantly keep learning. Thank you very much. All right. So next up, we are going to go through and around the room. Everybody will get their 45 seconds on the shot clock. So there we go. Good morning, everybody. My name is Paul Taubman. My company is called Digital Maestro. We're a website and marketing agency here in Somerville, New Jersey. So I got a quick question for you. Why did the SEO guy cross the road? He wanted to get more traffic. Oh, all right. So at Digital Maestro, one of the things that we do is help clients get more visibility by gaining more traffic to their websites. And when we talk about traffic, we're talking about qualified traffic, not just anybody coming to the site. That doesn't matter, but people that are interested in your services and products, because ultimately that'll affect your bottom line in a positive way. Paul Taubman from Digital Maestro, where we harmonize your online strategy. Next up, take it away, Desiree.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Desiree Hellick, and I am the Chief Queen Bee here at Clarence Services. We are a digital marketing agency, and we help our clients build solid marketing foundations for those who are relying solely on word of mouth and referrals to build their businesses. We focus on content marketing. So we do anything from email marketing, social media maintenance, Google business page maintenance. We do blogging and videos, and we also do fractional CMO services for those who can't afford a full-time leader on their team. You can find us at clarenceservices.com, and on deck is Jake.
Jake is not here, so we'll have Relax Social Media.
Managing your own social media accounts can be a total pain. It's time-consuming, distracting, and if you're not really good at it, it could ruin your reputation. Relax Social Media takes the stress off your shoulders and lets you focus on what your business does best. We ease your workload by providing high-quality social media management services at an affordable price. Our all-in-one proprietary software streamlines and automates your process, We help you reach your audience with strategies that work to make sure your posts are receiving the engagement they deserve. And you can get all of this in our Platform Plus package, starting at just $99 a month without any contracts. So relax. Stop doing things manually. Start today.
Okay, Danelle is not here this morning. So George.
Good morning. Yes, George with Caring Transitions. We help families in times of downsizing and relocation by running estate sales, appraisals of household items, and doing the final clean out of emptying out the house of all its contents so Lance can put the house on the market and get it sold. So George with Caring Transitions. And next up is one of my favorite team members, Rochelle.
Well, thank you, George, for that. My name is Rochelle DiCrescenzo. I'm a physical therapist, and my practice is The Healing Journey. I'm located in Clinton, New Jersey. I help people feel better, move better, and stay active without pain medications, injections, or multiple trips to the doctor. And I do that by taking a holistic approach to my patients. We look at mind, body, and spirit, and I use a type of technique called John Barnes myofascial release, which is a hands-on body work that really tries to get to the bottom of what's going on. So the symptom is really just the tip of the iceberg. It's never just a shoulder problem or a back problem. It goes much deeper than that. And I work with my patients to look at that whole problem with in-office treatments and very individualized at-home self-care programs. And you can find out more about what I do at The Healing Journey, mfrpt.com. And up next is Tracy.
Good morning, everybody. Tracy Spiaggia with Slingshot Health Coaching. As a functional nutrition and lifestyle practitioner and brain health specialist, I work with individuals and families struggling with myriad mental health challenges. I help fill the gigantic gap that exists between the conventional medical model, consisting primarily of pharmaceutical and talk therapy. And what we do is take a deep dive into a person's diet, their lifestyle, relationships, past trauma, and we engineer a really, really specific life map, trying to discover how they got to this place of suffering so that we can reverse engineer a better plan to get to root cause resolution. And I recruit, in an ideal situation, the energy of the entire family, because no one gets sick in a vacuum and nobody heals in a vacuum. You can find me at slingshothc.com. And up next is Jessica.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jessica Dale, owner of A Place at Home, an in-home senior care serving the Somerset, Hunterdon, Morris, and Union counties. We provide customized in-home care based on the senior's needs. All our care plans are created by a qualified registered nurse and delivered by a very compassionate team of caregivers. We also offer care coordination and senior living alternative, which is a free personalized service that help seniors find the community that better fits their needs, like assisted living, independent, memory, or long-term care. Jessica Dale with A Place at Home. And next up is Maggie.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Maggie Morris. I'm the owner of Prim Bookkeeping. I work with small businesses, helping them keep their financials current. I work all over the United States. My service is virtual. I can be as involved as sitting with the business owner on a weekly basis, going over reporting, making sure the numbers are there, making sure that the percentages that you're spending on the expenses are what they need to be. Or I can be as little involved as sitting with the business owner on a quarterly basis, making sure that all the financials are correct, making any adjustments that are needed, and doing that. So it's important to know your financials, or working with your CPA to keep your business going. Next up is Candido.
Hey, good morning, team. Good morning, everyone. My name is Candido Rodriguez. I'm a financial planner. And what drives us is helping business owners and families bring their dreams and goals to life. We to take an approach where we see what you've done so far, and whether it's credit card debt, mortgages, financial education planning, retirement planning, and we develop a plan to take you further than you've ever been. Our clients have ever been before. This approach is personalized and focused on the activities designed to help them reach those dreams, goals, and aspirations while living today. Next is Sean.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sean, and I am an all-around virtual assistant. But I specialize in the more technical side of things. So with that said, I can do graphics, account management, CRM management, customer service, website maintenance and development, administrative tasks, and of course, data entry. I can also give you moral support if you need it, and you don't even need to employ me full-time. If you ever need a pair of digital hands, give me a call. Again, my name is Sean Solis, creating time and freedom for my clients. Next up is Wendy.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Wendy Kushnicki. I'm an independent consultant with Pampered Chef. I am your go-to kitchen guru for all of your holiday entertaining challenges, whether you are looking for some fun new recipes for the holidays, or if you are looking for some creative gift ideas for all of you foodie friends, I can help you with that. I do in-home parties and online parties. So if you are interested in having a fun time with your friends and getting some free and discounted products, or if you have an organization that is near and dear to your heart and you would like to raise some money for them, I can also help you with a fundraiser. Wendy Kushnicki, independent consultant with Pampered Chef.
Sue.
Sorry,
Good morning.
Sue's on deck.
I'm here. Hello. Good morning.
Hi.
My name is Sue Bannon. I am an independent stylist with Color Street. Color Street started out as lovely, wonderful, perfect, magical dry nail polish strips, and they are morphing into a beauty brand. They have a hand care line now, and they also have a lip color line. I do in-home parties. I do online parties. Strips and the lip colors make a lovely stocking stuffer if you're interested. Color Street also has gift cards. If you're not sure what your person might need, I can get you a gift card and they can pick out anything that they like on their own. And next up is Richard.
Good morning, everybody. Rich Diacont. I am an independent insurance professional representing Aflac. When you're faced with an unexpected health challenge, such as an accidental injury, hospital confinement, or even the diagnosis of a critical illness, the expenses that you're going to see can be financially devastating. Aflac helps folks by providing cash benefits directly to them to help them get through this time when they need more money coming in than ever before. These situations can not only be physically and mentally challenged, but again, if you're not prepared, they can be financially challenged. What you do with the benefits you receive from Aflac is entirely up to you. A good referral from me would be a small business with 5 to 10 employees. Rich Diacont, representing Aflac. Next up is Mohammed.
David Quick, Total Cover IT. What we do here at Total Cover is we totally cover your business like a blanket with 24/7 monitoring, security protection, non-demand support for both Mac and PC needs. This week, I just want to announce my upcoming webinar where I'm going to be talking about having the right cybersecurity strategy and how that strategy will actually make your business stronger. So I'm going to drop the invitation in the chat. Please feel free to share that in your networks and invite business owners that may be interested in moving their business forward. David Quick, Total Cover IT, where RI is on your T.
Michelle.
I'm getting there. Sorry, I was on mute. Michelle Marie Adams with Keller Williams Metropolitan, based in Northern New Jersey, servicing counties of Morris County, Warren, Sussex, Essex, and Passaic. Loved Lance's presentation, hitting a lot of chords, and it's good to know that, you know, Keller Williams, we have the same teachings across the country, across the globe, actually, same values. I've read that book probably 15 times. It's a great book, and I still can't get my one thing down. But, you know, just would love to help out anyone who has any questions about home purchasing, home selling. Love working with first-time buyers, one of my favorite things in the world. So if you know anyone who's looking to buy or sell up in northern New Jersey, feel free to let me know.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody. And Mariana, if you'd like to unmute yourself and give us 45 seconds about who you are and what you do.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mariana Santiago Jimenez, owner of Humble Foods Guidance. I am a holistic health coach. I actually work with clients individually or in group settings, and I really help them achieve whatever their goals are. It's very tailored to the client. A lot of things that I do is I go into people's homes and I actually do an immersive cooking class with them, and where they're very much involved in the process, especially when they're transitioning their lifestyle into a healthier cooking. And I show them how they can do it. Very much they're doing that with me. I also offer like pantry and fridge makeovers and grocery store tours. It's all about becoming healthier and how can this transition and education so that they can transition for themselves. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for coming and visiting. If you're interested, we meet here every week, Wednesday morning, 8 o'clock. Okay. All right. So tough to top, but it's not all about competition. Lance gave a great presentation this week. Next week, on the 22nd, we will be meeting. It is the day before Thanksgiving, but we all had the chat and a lot of people said, yeah, let's still meet. So we are going to meet. Rich, you'll be speaking. The following week on the 30th will be myself. And then kicking off December will be with Jessica. So I know I'm ready for that. Rich and Jessica, if you're good to go, great. Just if something comes up, you can't make it, let us know. And with that said, thank you, everybody. I appreciate you coming out this morning. Remember, we're here every week, Wednesdays at 8 a.m. So we look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks a lot, everybody. Be well.